All right, hello everyone. I hope for those of you who celebrate Christmas, you guys had a great Christmas, and hopefully you had a good weekend too. If you're not celebrating Christmas, whatever, I hope you all had a good weekend. So let's get back into the game. Today is Tuesday. As you know, I'll put the Astro hours and the swing days onto the members area already, so you can check them out. And this is where we're at now. This is gold. Now here with gold, let's take a look. It's a new week, right? As you can see, we're making higher highs and higher lows on the weekly. So the market is obviously going up. If the market comes down, we want to go back up. Also, this level here is 2047. 2047 is here. All right, so the weekly level, this level is where we might be retracing to. And this purple zone is the daily where the market took off. If I take you into the daily chart, come on, mate. Right, is here. Remember last week we were buyers in there to break out because I said if this breaks out, we should go. And the market did so really nicely. You could have followed that up on Friday at the Astro hours. I was right in the middle of a training session actually when this happened. So I couldn't really dive in because I hadn't done a plan for it because we were in a training session. But nonetheless, this was like beautiful trade to get back into the game. Now here with gold, we've got room to go up to these levels, especially on the PST. So this 68 and 69 for me are still on the cards as a target, and they are 2077 and 82. I've also put 69 here, 77, 82, as you can see. Now, if the market comes back, if we come back into this zone or this zone, astrologically, it's okay to go back up. But because it's a new week, okay, it's a new week, we might come back to fill in some gaps on the daily and the weekly, okay? And that will happen, like I said, at the weekly pivot there, okay, coming back down to go up. So we could go up first, take liquidity, and then come down into that zone. So if that happens, the market will go up and then come back down. If it comes back down, you want to go up. Also on the daily, check this out. This is for today, obviously, because this is the daily. 59, that's 2047, which brings us nicely into there. All right, so 2047. So this is looking like a decent spot that the market can come back to in order to push back up on the daily as well. If you take a look, 2047 is out there. This zone is lower, okay? But I would go in at 2047 if the market did retrace. If it doesn't come back first and it goes up first, then this zone will be like a retracement zone for us. And at Astro hours, it's okay. If you're going to take an intraday trade, these hours here can be okay to sell at 2069. Why? Because 2069 is what it did. And that's the PST level 66 right there. So it'll fill in the gap, come in, retest the previous day's high, okay, take out liquidity maybe, and then push down into a support level, which will be down here or down here, all right? In any case, if we come down to these levels, we're looking for a buy setup at Astro hours to push upwards, all right? This is a 15-minute chart, as you can see. If you're using ATM, as you know, I've done a few videos as well, short ones last week or the previous week, I think. All right. In any case, going back to the 1 hour will really help you out. And then as the markets open on a day-to-day basis, going back to the 1 hour really helps out. Okay, as you can see. Then you can see where the market can want to go or where the market can want to retrace. This is no man's land, so don't trade in no man's land. If you're going to buy the lows. If you're going to sell the highs at Astro hours. This is a good, it's a good push down, but as you can see, it hasn't broken any swings or anything. Okay, so what we want to see is nice and stable pullback into this zone where we can get back in the game again. There can be a sudden movement today after 6 o'clock coming into 8 o'clock my time. Okay, so you need to be careful for that. Other than that, it should look like smooth turning and playing around today. Let's take a look. Let's put this back into the 15-minute chart. And then let's take a look at SP 500 and move forward. Right, and this is SP 500. Now on the SP 500, I've also put the swing days, as you can see. All right, so tomorrow is going to be interesting for us. But these levels are interesting. Why? Because these are the highs, the all-time highs that the market did. We're filling in the gap here. This is where they sold off last week. And remember, that was a swing day last week. So if you sold off on that swing day at the high, which was an Astro hour, you would have like made a killing on that day. So this was the kind of sign we were waiting for. And remember last week I said, listen, I'm not delving into the indices because I need a sign. And this wasn't a bad sign. Okay. So the market now has a swing. If we decide to start shorting it, then we need to see this swing broken and close lower. Then we can kind of push up and start selling off. Okay. But the market needs to come back. Okay. It will come back. If it wants to go higher and higher and higher, we'll have a more severe fall. If it starts to retrace into the spring of 2024, then we will catch the beginning of the new trend. All right. And we'll see how that pans out. We know when that's happening. So we'll be ready for it. Okay. But these are kind of like highs. And if it makes a double top on the weekly, as we can see here, all right. If I tighten this up a little bit, okay, this will be a sell zone for us. Okay, we're in that sell zone there. So all we have to do is just basically see how it pans out. Now this 72 today is 4,800 on the weekly. So if we head towards 4,800, which is tomorrow, then tomorrow is a swing day and that's your 4,800. And then that would be a level where we want to be pushing off into. And the high the market did was 4,817.50 up here. So that 4,800 is looking nice on the weekly. It might take out the stops, obviously, so you've got to be careful with that. On the monthly, we still have this, which is 4,868. So we need to put that 4,868 into the game as well. And that could be a reversal point as well for the market. All right. 4,868. That is quite a bit up there, but the market can do anything, and that's already there. All right. So what can you do with SP 500? If the market comes down first into these levels to go back up, it's not a bad idea. On the daily, where should it be? Let's take a look. 64, 4724. 4724 is down here. That's quite low. 4724, as you can see. That's on the daily. I like to put these in. And the reason I like to do that is because if there's a PST level, I like that level. On the weekly, let's make this a little bigger so it makes sense for us. Okay, and let's get in there. 67, 4722. Now 4722 is also going to be a target. So this number is not a bad spot at all because we've got it as a target on the daily support level, weekly target level. So if we go up first, selling at the tops is good to push down into there, and that could be a high, which could be for SP 500 tomorrow. Now Dow Jones has got a swing day today, so both today and tomorrow we're going to have to be careful for the highs because Nasdaq also has a high on a Wednesday. So Tuesday and Wednesday we're looking for highs if the market is going up. Okay, if it goes up, we can look for highs to sell off. Okay, and that's how it should pan out. If the market comes down first, then you can go up as an intraday trade to sell off later, keeping these levels in mind. All right. And this is the 15-minute chart here on the PST. So the weekly level, this level, there's a gap here. So market will want to come to fill it in. So if we go up first, the market will want to sell before it buys again. So you have to wait for this zone. If I turn this into a 1 hour chart, let's see. All right, there you see. That's the nice push up from there and there, plus here. Now remember, this is a big savage fall. So if we go back up, testing the highs of last week, market selling off from these levels is logical. So like I said, today and tomorrow, selling highs is okay to do so. Okay, there you go. And just match it to your swing days. On the hourly, let's see what that 66 is. 4766. 4766 is pretty much up here. And this is on your hourly though. What's that level? 75, 4777. And that's up here, which will take out pretty much, I guess, 4777. Take out the stop. So if we head back up here as well, selling is not a bad idea. This is what they've done before. And this is a big sell-off, as you can see. Okay. I'm going to put that back into the 15-minute chart. If you're using your 8 a.m., you can always go back to the 1 hour chart when New York opens up or London opens up, whatever session you're trading, Asia, and then mark your, the hourly levels as well. But the hourly PST also works really, really nice. And I use it in accordance with the daily. And it's just they work really nice together. All right, so those are the levels we've talked about. If we go up first, selling is okay, in my opinion. If we come down first, buying to go up and then to sell off on a swing day is also okay. Euro dollar, let's take a look. It's a new week here. As you can see, that's like right on a resistance on the PST, which is 62.1032. So if anybody is selling, 1032 is the zone today, and that's the level that we marked in. Remember last week, this was a target zone, nicely picked up at the Astro hours there. So let's refresh this. If we go up again into this 1032, selling is not a bad idea in this zone as well. The Astro hours, when they come in, if the market is in this zone here, I think selling is okay to do so. Okay, if the market comes down first, then to go up to sell is logical. Okay. And let's just see how that pans out on a weekly. Let's first start with that weekly again. Now, we haven't broken out, okay? But if it does break out, you don't want to be in front of it. The price has broken out. The PST hasn't. 62 is 1032. And the highest the market did today was 61.95, okay? So it hasn't gone up yet, okay? And this is a gap the market may want to fill, and it's been there. That's 11, all right, 1.11. So that's still a possibility on the weekly. On the monthly, 56, 1133. It could happen, all right, it could happen. This is a big impulse wave. So having an A, B, C, or what we could see, maybe the market can just slide down from here. So selling these levels is not a bad idea. Closing the gap here on the weekly is not a bad idea before the sell-off. And on the daily, this is going up is not a bad idea. Now remember, breakout was what we were expecting here. So the market went up nicely to get into that zone. And once it, let's do this 11, 1.11, down here, 1097.11. All right. So this is also a possibility where the market will sell off that bar there. Right. But this zone for me would be a sell zone. Now we've got PST levels 67 to 68 here. So 1055, 63, 78. So 55, 63, 78. $55, 78, 63. This zone is a sell zone. Because once the targets are done on a PST, if it's an Astro hour, you can sell it off. 1032, like I said, it was last week. It was a target that did it nicely at the Astro hours, as you can see. And now this zone is also resistance. Selling at this zone is okay. Selling at the tops are okay. I like to sell if the PST is a little higher. rather than down here on a support. Okay, so don't rush into it. Let the market come to your targets on the daily, and then trade if you want to do so downwards. All right, and this is how it is. Let's see if there's anything we want to fill here. There is here on the weekly. On the weekly, this is the high. So if we go up first and the market comes down, we might want to come down again. Or this will keep pushing up until we fill this in. So buying is not a bad idea because this is like nice and aggressive up move. Okay. If it comes down first, also not a bad idea to go long. Asia session is here. The market kind of like breaks out on this bar. The daily pivot is not a bad place to get into the game at Astro hours. The opening is always an option because this is where the wick is, where the market took off. So 10:11, 10:01, that's one zone. On the daily, I can't see where else we can get to. This is an indecision bar. Well, you got to be careful with euro dollar at the end of the day. All right. When I'm doing the videos, you can see I'm thinking out loud. And there's a reason for that because I'm kind of like making the scenario out. So we're kind of like writing out the scenario. So these are high levels. If I'm going to buy here, I need to be careful. I need to wait for a pullback and so on. There are no gaps here to kind of pull back. So this is a bit indecisive. I can go long to get up there. And the support here is 54. If the market starts to take a dip, 1946, 1946 is all the way down here. So we've got potential to push down into here. All right. So there are a few things you can do here. In no man's land, don't trade. If you're going to sell, do it at the tops, at Astro hours here, or in this zone here. You have to understand this 11 is a gap zone. So the market can do a spike, take out the stops, fill it in, and then sell off. So there are two scenarios here. If you want to buy, you buy where they bought before at Astro hours. If you want to sell, you sell where they sold before at Astro hours or at the above target levels. You can go down to your smaller time frame. Okay, if you're going to trade the euro dollar, wait for a setup there. You don't have to rush the trade. All right. I like to go down like 5 minute, 1 minute, wait for the impulse, let it come back, and then push up as well. And then you've got a tight stop loss level, which you can determine as well, especially if you've learned astrology as well. If you understand there are no crazy aspects coming afterwards, it's also like, always good to follow through with that aspect and price level. All right, and look, on the PST, we're down here at a target level. So here is a place, for example, you don't sell, and you're going to wait for the Astro hour, like I said, into that 8 o'clock there. Let's take a look at Dow Jones, NASDAQ, Bitcoin. So euro dollar as well. If you're going to sell, do it on the highs at those PST levels. If you're going to buy to go up to those PST levels, wait for the market to come down into your Astro hours, either to the opening, the 1.10, 1.1011 zone, or down to the 1.0982, 1.0946 levels if you're going to buy. Other than that, it's going to be no man's land. Don't get in there unless you know what you're doing and want to take the risk. All right, so here we are, Dow Jones. Let's take a look at the weekly. New week all-time highs, as you can see. So that's nice, but we're not buying, obviously, here at the all-time highs. There's room to come back, and this is going to fill back. This is the impulse wave. All right, so the market needs to come back into this zone again. All right, so no need to stress out. You haven't missed out on anything. Let's take a look at the monthly, see where we can go. Now, this thing can still go up a little bit more. It still can, all right, because we've got this monthly thing here. On the daily, let's take a look. On the daily, this can also kind of keep pushing up. We could do a 1, 2, 3 tap before it starts to chill out and lose its gas, but no buying here, obviously, all right. 68, 37,234. 37, let's do this. 37, 2, oops, 37, 2, 3, 4. So this zone is going to be the first support, which is logical. This is where they bought before, bought before, bought before, all right? But this is where they sold off, remember, at the Astro Hour, bang. So let's see what's going on. Okay, if we get back up here, this selling is what we want to catch up on. So if the market goes up, spikes in there, closes below, you can look for a sell setup down at an Astro Hour. And Dow Jones, remember, swing day today. So if it goes up in the Asia session, not the Asia session, New York session, we're finding ourselves up here somewhere at an Astro Hour. Looking for a sell setup is not a bad idea. Okay, let's take a look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ's going to be swing days tomorrow. Let's take a look at the weekly. The weekly support we've got here, let's see the weekly. Do we have a weekly support there? The weekly support for Dow Jones is this LCL1, 36,900. So if it starts to fall down, 36,900, let's keep this on the cards. Why? Because if it starts to fall down, you're going to use this for a target, aren't you? 36,900 down here. All right, so this is going to be a target there. And that's going to be a target there if the market starts to sell off. If it breaks below that, then you see we're going down here, and that will bring us lower than previous week low. Okay, and if it closes below here or here, then you know on the pull-ups we've got to start selling off. NASDAQ weekly support 68, 16,596, 16,596 down here. So then we've got to take this for a target, but we should break this if we're going to test the previous week's low. All right. So see how the market went up nicely as well into this zone, retesting that. Look what happened there. All right, Friday, retesting that, selling off. So going up to test the previous week high, previous day high, sweeping them. If we close the day below these levels, then the next day selling again is going to be an option. So I'm going to get rid of these from last week. Okay, these levels. Let's get rid of them. Okay, these levels there. So that's one level there on the weekly. If this keeps going up, it's going to be crazy. It's already gone higher than the high, all-time highs. This will also have to come back and fill in everything. And that could bring us back all the way into this zone here. Okay, so let's see what to do here. 17,759, 17,760. 17,760 is just freaky. Okay, that is just freaky. So we'll have to wait and see on this one. If it breaks below that, you know where we're going. Okay, then we're going to have to push down. I'm going to get rid of these so we don't confuse ourselves. But it should pull back there. It should pull back there. It should pull back all the way into here. Okay, we should come back into this zone or close to this zone before anything happens. All right, I'm not sure about this one, but this zone, we should get back into here. So this line I'm going to keep here, okay? And this should still work out for us if we come down to go back up, and then that should make us some money as well if you're trading NASDAQ, all right? If you want to sell the highs of last week at Astro Hours, it's definitely doable. Definitely doable, selling the highs. Just make sure it sweeps, closes under the previous day high, previous week high down here somewhere, and then we can see how things pan out. But you can see there's a lot of selling pressure coming in. So I'm going to get rid of this now. and we're going to work on selling the highs. If it breaks high, closes above the previous week's high, don't muck around with selling. You just have to take a step aside and wait. Bitcoin. Now remember, I said these zones are like sell zones. I don't think the market should be going up anymore. This is it. It filled in the gap, which is what I said. Should fill in the gap, tap the bar, indecision here. We should sell off. So I've been saying you could sell the highs at these levels. And this is basically how it's panning out. Now, until this swing breaks here, I can't really say the trend is kind of like stalling off. But, astrologically, we're like, pretty much at high levels. Okay, so the market should at least start to pull back and retrace around these days. Okay, so there are some serious aspects where we should be getting the hint, right, that the market should reverse. Okay, and basically it. So this week, if we're at the highs, we want to look at selling off. And tomorrow is also a good day to do that. All right, so today, tomorrow, you can definitely look out to do that. Once we break below that on the pullback, you just keep pushing south. Then we need to target, okay, in a long term, we need to target all the way back down into the 20s, into the 25,000s. We should be targeting those zones again. All right, so that's that. And if I do the monthly, you see we should be coming back into this zone on a monthly zone as well. Wow, that is just pretty. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, huh? But coming back down is definitely an option. All right, into this zone. Rightio, that's that. In the short term, though, like I said, if you're intraday trading, I think at the Astro hours, selling the highs is the better option than going upwards. All right. That's that. Now, it's been a long video, but it's the beginning of the week. And the reason I do these videos long is because these are for club members who like taking training. So every video, every day is like a support mechanism. So you can write out a scenario for yourselves and understand that we want to buy the lows, sell the highs, go with the trend, fill in the gaps, take out liquidity, all that kind of stuff we've learned. We're like kind of like making a scenario for ourselves with the video. So this is why the members area is really dedicated to those who've taken the courses so they understand what's going on and so forth.